Well, good morning and welcome to the Real Monica Adams Show, brought to you by our friends, as you saw, Invita Health and Wellness. Have you been there yet? I think you have, because I've heard that they are slammed, and that is what you call a great collaboration. Her mission, my mission, we align with each other. We are here to change the world, and she's doing that inside and out. So thank you so much, Dr. Sarah. She's become a great friend of mine. Love her and Jamie and the entire staff. If you haven't been over there, they definitely can help you. IV hydration therapy, the ketamine treatments for trauma, for pain, for mental health. They have, of course, aesthetic aspects that they can take care of as well. And even if you're looking into something for weight loss, Invita Health and Wellness, 333 South Kirkwood Road. And you'll hear about them a little bit in a second. Now, I have a woman coming on with me today that is a very, very dear friend of mine. I know it's my show, so I bring a lot of my friends and family on, and you've seen the dogs on my Mobile Monica show, but I've been seeing that you enjoy each and every one of those. If you have followed me for years, you've probably seen pictures of she and I together. Sally Drake is her name, and when I say she is a rock star athlete, I mean she's a rock star. But beyond that, she's got a heart of gold, and what she wants for the world, the energy that people feel around her. You're going to see and feel, if you can, through the airwaves, the glow that she has, what she gives to people. Now look, you're going to see her. She's in incredible shape. She's a beautiful woman. And I always talk about the stereotypes that people do. And they'll say, oh, well, she doesn't suffer through anything. She's got it all. No, she's been through some hard times. And if she will allow me, we're going to talk about some of those. She's been through something personally. She's been through something from a trauma aspect of an injury. But she fought her way back, and I mean big time, and stood on the podium as number one. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about a book that she is in collaboration with, as well as an award she just got from the St. Louis Business Journal. This woman's been busy. We're going to talk about all of that. My dear friend, and she might become your coach or your friend, because when you have her as a coach, you just become a friend of hers. Because I've had people that I personal train that did some swimming with her. They fell in love with her as I told them that she would. Look, Oprah had her team of experts. I do as well. And she is one of them that I've said, look, if you want to train for a triathlon, you want to learn how to properly swim and maybe do some type of a race, you want to even get off the couch and understand the proper mechanism of how to walk before you ever run. You got to crawl before you run, right? Crawl before you walk, and then you run. So you don't just get off a couch and then think you're going to go do a race. That's where the injuries take place. She knows that, and she does the steps of helping you through that, and then she'll help you excel. The greatest thing is she believes in you. And when I talk about finding the right tribe to surround yourself with that believes in you, that's what you need in life. No longer do you need the negativity around you, the drama, the toxicity. That's never going to serve you. So if you're looking for a great coach, well, this is one of them that I'm going to be featuring today. So Sally Drake is in the blue chair when we return. Invita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Invita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Invita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Invita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment, or online invitahealthandwellness.com. Welcome back. Again, The Real Monica Adams Show. And hey, if you're brand new to the show, thank you. You probably found out from a good friend or a family member or a coworker that yes, we're doing this for you each and every day, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Some of them are live streaming and some of them are recorded shows, because we all have crazy busy lives, but we want to be flexible and accommodate to bring you some really impactful guests. And one of them is in the blue chair right now, Sally Drake. I'm so happy to finally have you in the studio. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you for the invitation. I'm thrilled to be here.
See, I told you, just look at the smile. Look at the glow that's coming off of her. This is one of my very, very, very dear friends. And I don't even know, how did we first meet each other? Do you know that?
You contacted me to coach you for the Lake St. Louis Triathlon.
I knew you before that.
I think it was in 2010 or 2011.
11 maybe?
Yes.
But I think I knew you before that. But I don't know how. I
may
still have been trying to figure out how the two of us met. We absolutely were friends at that point. And the funny thing is, I always thought about doing, oh, she knew this. I always wanted to do a triathlon. And my whole mindset of being a personal trainer was that transfer from one thing to the next, easier on the body. Instead of just always doing one thing, running, always cycling, or always swimming, it was the transition of swimming and then biking and then running. And I said, but I want to be a stronger swimmer. So she and I spent time together at Lifetime.
Yes.
You came over, and we kept finding that I kept pulling my head up out of the water, and I was like, why am I doing that? I feel like I'm going to, but that's the thing, Sally. Do people say that to you? I feel like I'm going to suffocate. I feel like I'm going to drown.
Yes. Swimming is awkward, and learning as an adult is truly a challenge because we like that air, right?
Yes.
So when our faces are in water and we can't breathe, it's a little
I'm like,
bit scary.
turn your head. Yes.
It takes some getting used to.
She taught me proper mechanisms, so much so that she was out there like any good coach, ready there to cheerlead me, and swimming is the first part of a triathlon. So she went to talk to someone, and then what happened, Sally?
Yes. And then I missed this fast swimmer coming out of the water.
That's how good of a coach you are.
fast.
Yes. So all of a sudden she turns her head and she's like, "Where's Monica? Oh my gosh, she's gone already. She's on her bike."
I see her running away.
So swimming, biking, running, we're just talking about the triathlon aspect if that's something you want to do. But let's go all the way back. So Sally, as an athlete, what was your main sport growing up?
Growing up, I really didn't play
This is
any
what I love.
sports. I grew up in a house of smokers. I mean, I love my mom and dad to death. They're not alive any longer, partially because of smoking. But I grew up in a house of smokers, not very healthy or active parents. And it was always my dream to see if I could become as fit as I possibly could. I wanted to be fit. And I just wanted to see how it felt to be very healthy because I just felt like I knew in the house of smoke I wouldn't be able to be
Right.
as healthy as I possibly could be.
And see, that's what I want. I already knew the answer, by the way, because we're very good friends. But I wanted you to hear that because I think people many times see an elite athlete and believe that, well, you were taught how to do this when you were 3 years old or 4 years old, and it was ingrained in you, and your parents pushed it on you. No, it wasn't. In fact, what did you first do? Was it a run aspect or a biking or swimming? What was your first introduction to this?
Yes. Well, I started lifting weights a little bit at the gym, and then I started running. And I'll never forget my first mile running and completing 1 mile.
Which is huge.
It was unbelievable, the feeling. And then looking at admiring people who did 5Ks, and then I did 5Ks, and then I admired people who did 10Ks, and then and so on until I did a marathon, and I just continued to progress my goals, so grow my goals as I completed the marathon. Then what was next? I did 1 ultra marathon. That was enough. I didn't want to beat up my body. Well,
So you're like, oh, well, hold on a second. An ultra marathon is?
it was a 50K.
Oh, 50, okay.
There are different options,
Okay.
but mine was a 50K in Frankenstein, Missouri. It was they don't
Wait,
have it any
wait,
longer.
where's Frankenstein,
I don't
Missouri?
know. I know, isn't that funny? I don't know. I was there. It was very
Somebody drove
late.
me. I just had to run.
Yeah, and I ran it with a friend. We did it, and that was an amazing accomplishment. And then, okay, what's next? And a friend challenged me to do a triathlon. She did her first sprint. She said, "You have to do it. You have to do it." I said, "I don't even know how to swim." I grew up swimming and splashing around in lakes and, floating around in inner tubes. We had
Sure.
a little above ground pool, but I never swam laps.
Right.
So I went to Maplewood Pool. The time was close to my home, and just tried to teach myself how to swim.
Right. So you didn't have a coach.
Right. I did not have a coach. Back then, when I was starting to do it, it was in the 90s, and
Okay.
coaching was not, there weren't many coaches out there. And I suffered from the fear, intimidation that a lot of newer athletes have, or even people who are in fitness who are thinking about entering into the triathlon world are intimidated. They don't think they're ready for a coach because they're not in shape enough for a coach. And that's not true.
They
That's
think
not
they have
true.
to train to get a
Right?
coach.
Yes. Isn't
That's
that funny?
so funny. Yeah, I've experienced that. And you have, as a
Yeah.
personal trainer, people have said, "Monica, I have to get ready to ever come to your class." And I'm like, "What? No,
they have to
come."
get in shape
Right?
for
You
it.
have that.
Right.
All levels are welcome, though. And that's the thing we always want you all to know. You did your first 5K. What age were you?
30.
Third, see, that's what I want you all to know,
Right.
that it can happen at any point for you.
Right.
All things in life. We know we're talking about athletics in this hour because it's something that she and I both love, but it's anything. You want to switch jobs, doesn't matter the age, but people, it's the fear though. Don't you think that holds them back
Yes,
in life?
it's fear, intimidation. Yeah, fear, and I don't know if it's fear of just failing. They don't think that they can do it or that they can take all the steps involved in reaching a goal like that. But it is truly breaking it down into, you want to run a marathon, you don't start with a marathon, you
No.
start with a 5K. You want to do a triathlon, you don't start with a full triathlon. Maybe you do a duathlon or an aqua bike, which is the swim and then the bike. So
Okay.
I have some non-runners or people that don't like running that will do that.
Or a relay?
Yeah, so relay. So you get a family or a few friends, and one person does the swim, one person does the bike, and one person does the run. How much fun is that? Then
Absolutely.
you're in the world, you kind of see how it all goes, and you see all the different levels of people that are out there.
And you each cheerlead each other.
Yes.
Which is what you need, accountability partners. You need to have people that will lift you up and support you. If you're just tuning in, that's Sally Drake, very dear friend of mine, an incredible athlete. So you mentioned you're 30 years old, you finally do your first 5K and then 10K and a half marathon. You do the ultra, you get into your sprint triathlon was the first one?
Yes.
How old were you at that point?
Well, the sprint triathlon was in 98, and then I did the Ironman in 99.
Ironman, okay.
So, yeah.
This is, I want to call it the Iron Woman,
Or,
though.
I'm sorry, 2001 was my very first Ironman.
Ironman?
So yeah.
Did you
99 was
you
my
went
first
full blown
triathlon.
to an Ironman? You skipped the half Ironman?
Oh, I did a half
Oh,
before
okay.
that.
Okay.
It was called Pigman in Iowa, and I had a great experience.
Frankenstein, Missouri, Pigman. I mean, come
Probably
on.
took out
Of course it would be. So, this is the deal. So a lot of people watch this show on all different levels, all different ages, and some are not athletes, some are not, focusing right now yet on their physical side of the triangle of life that I focus on. Maybe you're working right now on the mental and spiritual until you're ready for the physical, which is great. You got to take care of yourself. But if they start to do this, they may think that these are foreign things we're talking about. So a 5K is
3.1 mile run or walk. We welcome, I put on races as well, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yep.
So I put on races, and we welcome walkers absolutely 100% to all of our races.
and then a 10K,
A 10K is 6.2 miles,
and then a half marathon.
13.1 miles,
Are you following along here? And then a marathon.
26.2 miles.
But she said she did an Ironman, which is
It's a 2.4 mile swim, a 112 mile bike ride,
Woo!
and a 26.2 mile run, a full marathon at the end.
okay. So we have talked about this several times. She did, as she mentioned at the beginning. So if you're just tuning in, we talked a little bit about how she trained me to get ready for the Lake St. Louis Triathlon, which was a sprint version. I loved it. I was actually training for Innsbruck for Team in Training, phenomenal organization, and found out they had a heart issue. And it pulled me out of it. But I had this, I want to get back to it so bad that I finally did the sprint. I have not done another one, which is unfortunate. That just shows how crazy busy my life had gotten. But it's still in me to go, wow, I really love that. Let's do it again. She and I talked about the next level, which would be what, an Olympic distance?
Yes.
Which is what?
So that would be a mile swim, almost a mile swim, and then a 25-ish mile bike, and then a 10K run at the end.
So the one I did was like 400-meter swim, I think. It was a 12-point-something mile bike ride, and then I think it was a 5K, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay, which was great. I mean, and I have to thank my friend Trudy at the time. She was with me, and she saw my watch and grabbed my arm and made me stop, and I was so frustrated because I was like, wow, come on, I'm barreling along in the run. But she knew that I had a heart issue, and my heart was at 205. And I was freezing cold while I was sweating, which is not a good thing, folks. You got to pay
Right.
attention to the body, and you have to have friends and family members that will look out for you. So yeah, so we did that, and then I have forever talked to her and said, okay, I think that's the next one. I need to do that. We then were looking at like the half Ironman and the Ironman. She and I both love Cabo San Lucas. Anybody that knows me knows that I go there a lot. And she did it.
Yes,
You
I
did
did it.
the Ironman in Cabo.
Yeah.
I was thinking like maybe you could get me ready for a half because I haven't even done the half yet. They don't offer a half, do they?
Yes. Oh,
They
it
do
was
now?
a half that I did in Cabo. Yes. Cozumel has a full. Cabo has a half. Cozumel also
Oh,
has a half.
uh-oh. I'm on the hook
Yes.
here.
Oh, there you go.
So that's the first time you ever been to Cabo, right?
Yes.
And wasn't it amazing?
Oh, it was beautiful. We had so much fun racing. We went with a group and had so much fun racing. All the people were very, very nice. It was beautiful.
And, you know, so again, I think it's always been, while I always was not a big fan of just running, because I get bored with it, if I go to certain places that have beautiful scenery, well, then I'm all about it. Then it's like, oh, well, you're running by the ocean, right? Or you're running through gorgeous neighborhoods. That makes it to me a little easier because you get lost in it.
Right.
Well, let's talk about this for people who don't run. Explain what the runner's high is.
Good question. And you don't always get it when you run. It's when you've reached a fitness level so that you can complete the distance that you're running comfortably. And you just get into a groove almost to the point where you feel like you're floating. And that's the runner's high. And when you have that, it's just a very peaceful feeling because your body's at peace. You don't feel any pain. And this happens again, like we were talking about, training properly for the event that is your goal. So training properly to prepare your body so you don't hurt yourself and put yourself or others in danger. That's what we always encourage.
Absolutely. There's no reason why you shouldn't seek something out because, again, it's not what you excel in. If it's something brand new to you, why wouldn't you look for an expert in it that says that actually will not only give you the tools, but have you enjoy it. You don't want someone to do something and be like, I hated that. I'm never doing it again. You have people that are all shapes, sizes, athletic levels that come to you. So you mentioned in the beginning, when I met Sally, she used to own Swim Bike Run. She was a co-owner of Swim Bike Run. And then you decided, this is my passion. I love this, that you started getting into endurance coaching and then your own racing. So it's MRE racing?
MSE Racing.
MSE Racing.
It stands for Multi-Sport Experience Racing.
Okay.
And I was given the business. So I was coaching, had my plate full. I mean, great coaching business was going on and didn't know how I could fit another thing in. But this race director in the area that had 2 very successful races had to go back to work full time due to some family issues, medical bills and things like that. And he asked me, if I give you everything I have to run the St. Louis Triathlon, to put it on, all my equipment, the money in the bank, would you do this?
Really?
I don't want the race to go away. I said, I don't want the race to go away. I have a bunch of clients signed up for this. I'm signed up for, I don't want the race to go away. So I said, let me sleep on this, because I was picturing myself putting on these races alone. And he had his family help him, and I didn't have family to help me, right?
Right.
So I slept on it, and I thought, there's no way I'll figure it out. I always do. I'll figure it out. I'm up for this challenge. So I said yes.
I love this. I mean, again, some people would be like, oh, you're gifted that. Yeah, but that's a lot of responsibility. A lot of responsibility. But you fell in love with it. So again, it's MSE Racing. But then you also were involved as the owner, the director of On Pace Running.
Yeah, so On Pace, first of all, when I was with Swim Bike Run, when I had the shop, Swim Bike Run Triathlon Shop, I started Swim Bike Run Triathlon Club.
Okay.
And that's still going strong today.
Awesome.
And then when I started building up my coaching business, and then some of my clients said, we need another club in the area. I said, we don't need another club. There's the St. Louis Triathlon Club. They're great. There are a few different triathlon clubs in the area, but they all have a little bit different feel, a little bit different area, demographic. So I said, okay, we'll see how it goes. I'll start one. We got a group of people together, and they all agreed, yeah, we need to start it. I had 2 investors just hand me a check for $1,000 that night. And so we started On Pace Triathlon Training Club. It started out as the no-name Triathlon Training Club. And then it turned into On Pace, and that's still going strong today. So
everything, she's like Oprah, everything that you touch turns to gold and it sticks around. On Pace Running, MSE Racing, Swim Bike Run, you still support them. Yes.
Yes, they're an amazing resource for me, and I love going there, and I schedule group rides out of Swim Bike Run. So we invite riders of all levels, bicyclists of all levels to come, and I organize everyone into A, B, and C groups. So if you're the A group, you're a fast person, you know the route, you go. You're B group, you're with me. You're medium, depending on the day, you might be a little faster, and the B group will break up into smaller groups. So some people will come with me because I know the route, and I'm usually fun.
No, you're very fun.
And then the C group is, I don't really know. I think I'm pretty slow, and I hate that word slow, but people will say, I'm slow. Where do I go? Okay, start with the C group. You might be B group. You could start with the B group and then drop back. So we have something for everyone at those races and rides. And the C group, I always have a sweeper, which is a person who rides in the back of the group and just make sure that everybody's okay. If someone has a mechanical with their bike, they'll stay with them until they get it fixed, and then I'll have another sweeper come up. So we just try to keep everybody safe. We are riding on roads that are open to traffic, which can be intimidating and scary.
Yes.
So I do a little pre-ride talk with those people that are new to riding on the road and just give them as many tips as I can.
See how she takes care of you, and that's what you need. By the way, it's a really great tool came up for those of you that ride, or maybe you run, or maybe you walk. Lauren and Colleen Murphy were recently on the show, and her story about what she's come back from. She was a runner. I don't know if you know her story about, she was training for the New York Marathon, and she got hit by a car.
No.
Yeah, she was running, and she got catapulted onto the windshield and then thrown like 30 feet, was told she wasn't going to live, definitely would never walk again. She's doing 5Ks. She's running a bunch of 5Ks. She can speak, even though they didn't think she could. But one of the things her mom said was, please, everybody, and she looked straight in the camera, please, everyone, do not put both earbuds in. But I always do, and I'm so glad. I know you're probably like, Monica.
Yes.
So always be aware and of everything that's going on around you, and then have the other one in. So yeah, that was very, very important. Those little things that we don't think about. That's why you have a good coach. Okay, Sally Drake once again has been my guest. If you're just tuning in, it's okay. You can go back and listen to the beginning of it after the show, but stick with us because you're hearing all this and you see how beautiful she is. You see how she glows and has this incredible smile. And you're hearing her being gifted things and making decisions, and investors putting things in her hands because they believed in her. She took it from there and is making it what it is, but it hasn't all been easy. And I need you all to understand that there's an up and a down and an up and a down, and you climb the mountain, you so close to the top, and then you come catapulting down. How do you get yourself back up again? She's done that so many times, and that's what I want you to understand. We'll talk more about that aspect when we return.
It's the icing on the cake.
The final brush stroke.
The finishing touches make all the difference in your home, too.
Have fun and get started at carolhouse.com/room planner.
With thousands of accessories in our 3.5-acre showrooms.
Get your picture perfect room and the lowest prices in the country at Carol House.
Because you like nice things.
You know, of course, it's great to get outside and enjoy the warm weather, but when it's time to relax indoors, be sure your home stays cool with equipment and service from my friends at Aldon. 24-hour emergency service available. At Aldon, it's their commitment to continue providing above and beyond HVAC service for all of their customers. They truly care about the air you breathe. Call them today at 314-567-5585 or on the web, aldon.com. That's al-don.com, 314-567-5585. And welcome back to you. I'm Monica Adams, your host for The Real Monica Adams Show. Thank you, by the way, for tuning in and to all of our incredible sponsors, but it's also the community that we have built. All of you just continuing to share the message, spreading the word that we are here for you every day. I made a devotion to you back in March. March 1st, we launched this show, and then in this studio on June 12th. And for a while now, I've been trying to get my guest that I have this morning in the studio with us, but this is just how busy her life is and my life. We finally did it after, how long have we been talking about this, Sally? Like months.
Since you opened the studio.
Oh, great. That's June 12th. So Sally Drake is my guest. We've been talking about, Sally is an athlete. We've been talking about her racing and running and swim, bike, run, as well as these wonderful clubs that are out there for you. The importance of hiring a coach, by the way. Before we move into this next segment, I do want to congratulate you because I saw you standing on the top of the podium, first place. What was that? Yes! Woohoo!
So that was the Newtown Triathlon, which is put on by my good friend Mike Weiss, most generous guy in the community. He owns Big Shark Bicycles.
Yes, he does. I love him.
Everybody loves Mike Weiss, but he's always been such a dear friend of mine. But anyway, so he puts on the Newtown Triathlon, and since I'm always putting on other races, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do Mike's race, you know. So I did it coming back from my neck surgery. I had 3 discs replaced in June. So a year ago, June 6th, I had 3 discs replaced, cage, screws, all of that.
The whole thing.
Yeah, and so this was my first race back. After that, no expectations whatsoever. I had trained a little bit, and I got first in my age group.
Yes, you did.
I'll take it.
Oh my gosh, the smile on your face was so huge. I was like, yes, she won. You were told when you had that surgery that you weren't going to bike again, right?
Yes.
Not
I did-
competitively.
No, I didn't think I would ever do another triathlon. I was worried about open water swimming and looking up. It was a major surgery. I was in a neck brace for a number of weeks. And then afterwards, I just had a lot of discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I would always have that discomfort. And then I started doing yoga. I started walking. I started lifting light weights. As the doctor told me it was okay, I definitely followed his advice. And he was worried about my triathlon bike because the triathlon bike puts you in a certain position that does put some strain. It compresses your neck. So I got rid of my triathlon bike, got a road bike, and started riding that, just little bits that I just was listening to my body. And then the weightlifting and the yoga and the stretching and everything and meditation, everything that I did gave me so much relief and made me a stronger athlete, even though I wasn't doing the swimming, biking, running. And I started swimming again. Swimming was no problem. Started running, did a couple of half marathons, no problem with my neck. It actually relaxed my muscles. So that was a good thing. And then the bike, I just stayed conservative and careful on it, and boom, it all came together.
Okay, so I want you to hear that message. So listening to the doctor, doing what they're asking you to do, following their protocol, and then pushing it a little bit, but continuing to stay under the care. Is this okay? Is that okay? Meditation, she said. Yoga, she said. Lifting weights, she said walking. Lightly swimming, going back to biking, and then just surrounding and immersing herself in her passion, but doing the triangle of life. I don't know how many times I have to say for each and every one of you, that's what it's about. Putting the mind into it, putting your spirit and your soul and your emotions into it, putting your body into it, but being smart and listening. Let's go back to the injury, by the way, and the surgery. You didn't even have a clue, and then all of a sudden you go from not having a clue that anything is wrong to you have to have surgery.
So I did a half marathon in April in Galveston of that year. And then in May, I went to the doctor. I had been going to the doctor for about a year and a half with numbness in my hands at night, numbness and pain. I mean, it was like burning pain in my hands. And nobody could figure it out. I went to a physical therapist. My primary care would give me steroids to just mask the pain because I couldn't sleep.
Yep.
It was horrible. It was only at night. And finally, my chiropractor, who's a great friend of mine, said, have you ever had a MRI done on your neck? I said, no, I don't have neck problems. She said, well, maybe you'd try that, because nobody could figure it out.
So you just said chiropractor, but if I wanted you to finish, I was getting ready to say, did you go to a chiropractor? Did you do acupuncture? Chiropractors are amazing, by the way. A chiropractor is who discovered that I had a blood clot without ever being diagnosed with having a blood clot. He literally looked at me and said, looks like a blood clot to me. I am a big proponent of chiropractors. Yes. And I love the fact that they've come a long, long way when people used to say, oh, that's a quack. No, they're not. They're incredible. So here we go again. A chiropractor says, hello, maybe you need to have an MRI.
And that's the thing too, is the chiropractors that I've had in my experience are respectful of the fact that they can't do everything.
Yes.
Right? I always thought if I go to my chiropractor all the time, I will never have any back surgeries or neck surgeries. Right. I always said I would never do that. Right. But then I find out I went to a neurologist. My doctor sent me to a neurologist immediately when she saw the MRI. She said, you have the worst spinal cord compression that I've seen in my 9 years of practice.
Unbelievable.
And who knew? And so she said, I'm getting you in. She leaves me a message. I'm getting you into a neurologist tomorrow morning before they open. They will see you, or before they see their first patient, they will see you. Please go. Of course, I'm going to go. And sure. I went, and they walked out of the office, said, are you Sally? I said, yep. They said, come on back. No paperwork. I had never even been there. And showed me the MRI up on the screen. This is your spinal cord compression. He said, one of the risks is if you were to trip and fall or fall on your bike, you could be paralyzed.
Paralyzed. That's what I thought you were going to say.
There's not a good chance, but there's a chance. I said, that's all you had to say.
Yes.
When can we do the surgery? Like, I'm ready. Let's do it.
And I do, you had said this earlier, but if you missed it, I remember talking to her and I remember her saying, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to bike again. I mean, that's disheartening to you. And then here she is. So yes, doctors will say so much, and sometimes they think, well, you're never going to walk again, and then people run. And they can only see what they see in the moment. I love doctors. I wanted to be one. I love Western culture, but I love Eastern culture. I love you to look into holistic. I love you to look into homeopathic. The biggest thing is be your own advocate, but be smart also. Listen to the body. She did. Again, she came back from this a year later. She wins in her age group. She stands on the podium, first place. Fantastic. That's not the only thing that she's gone through. You also, and people might not have ever heard of this, Alpha Guy. Tell us all about that.
Alpha gal.
Yeah, gal, not the guy. Alpha gal.
Yes, and I talked to you that morning. I woke up in my camper one morning and I was breaking out in hives, and I was by myself. It was a little bit scary, and I thought, what in the world is causing this? I ate a burger last night, a bison burger. This was the night before I had these hives, and I thought, this is strange because 2 other times I ate a bison burger. One time I had very itchy palms. Another time I had itchy palms and feet. And to the point where I was in Colorado, I had to run and get Benadryl. It was like maddening itch. And still didn't make the connection that I had eaten a burger before that. I was in Wisconsin cheering for some of my clients that did Ironman. Had a burger at lunch. Next morning, we're driving home. It was like food poisoning. I'll just stop there and say it was like food poisoning.
Thank you.
No details needed. No, didn't make the connection. It was that after the hives, I went to the emergency room because I was calling a client and I said, I can't make our meeting. I'm very uncomfortable. I'm breaking out in hives. I don't know what to do. He said, you should go to the emergency room because it could be anaphylactic shock. You never know. So get there. And I did. Luckily, I did. So they gave me steroids and something to ease the discomfort and then talked to me about this alpha guy. Oh, let me back up a second. So I woke up in my camper. All this was going on. I finally thought, red meat. There's a red meat allergy, I bet. Red meat allergy, not this alpha gal thing, tick bite. I was like, what? Okay, that's weird. Whatever. Okay. No, then in the emergency room, the doctor said, well, there's an alpha gal allergy caused by a tick bite. And he went on to explain that that's what I had.
Alpha gal. Mm-hmm. And so look into it. It is so we hear a lot of dangerous things. I don't know why we even have ticks in this world. I wish they would go away because they are, right? There's so many aspects of it. That's why you put your animals on flea and tick medication because it's harmful to them. It's harmful to us. If it stays on there for a while and then you're like, oh my gosh, how long has it been on? There's so many things that can happen. And alpha gal is something that I had never heard of until Sally. And then we actually featured you when I was in television talking about this. And so that means you then can't eat anything with a hoof.
Right. I can't eat beef, pork. That's bacon, people. I can't eat bacon. Can you imagine life without bacon? I can't eat it. And it's okay. I'm really okay with it. I'm fine with it because I'm a very healthy eater. We've talked about that a lot. I'm a very healthy eater, so I was mainly eating fish, chicken, and lots of veggies. My choice is always salad with some kind of a protein on it, but I don't miss steak. I do miss an occasional bison burger, but turkey burger.
Well, so my question was, because I know somebody that said that they had it, but they're out of it so that they can again. Is there a shelf life? There's a window of how long you suffer with that?
Apparently you can grow out of it, for lack of a better word. You can grow out of it and then have tests done to see if you still have the allergy. You could try on your own, but I don't think I want to just have my EpiPen there and try on my own.
And you were diagnosed with that how long ago?
Oh, gosh, it was 4 years ago.
4 years?
5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So someone said it was about a 5-year window. So I don't know. We'll see. If they say that you don't have it anymore, would you go and get a bison burger?
I don't think so.
No,
I
you're
don't
done with
miss
them.
it. I really don't miss it.
So and I'm not at all bashing people who eat meat because I will occasionally. I just feel better when I don't.
Yes.
It's very difficult on the body, and I hope you all understand this. Animal proteins in general are much harder than eating plant-based proteins. So people who have gone vegan, they're just like, oh, I just feel better, I have more energy, etc. There are, by the way, a lot of vegan athletes, bodybuilders. There's more and more. Someone challenged me about 10 years ago. They're like, you're never going to find a bodybuilder that's vegan. I said, oh, you're wrong. And then, of course, you look at Tony Horton, who a lot of you know, P90X fame. He became good friends with me, and he's really about 95% vegan. Every once in a while he said he'll have something, but for the most part, he's like, I just feel better about myself. And we're not saying go vegan. I'm not saying to completely erase any aspect of animal proteins, but I'm saying if you feel sluggish or you have something that feels like an intolerance, you might want to just start eliminating some aspects of it and then watch how much better you feel.
Yes.
Yeah. So you feel
Yes.
more energetic?
Yes, I like it. I do eat chicken and fish because
Turkey?
I feel like, yes,
Yeah.
turkey. I feel like I need that extra protein as an athlete, especially when I'm lifting a lot of weights and things like that. I need it for rebuilding.
Should I do it, folks? Give me a double bicep pose. Okay, just give me one.
Only if
Come
you
on.
do, too.
Well, I got a long shirt. Okay,
Oh.
fine. All right, here you go.
Yes,
Ready?
You
Here we
do,
go.
too.
You're welcome, everybody.
I can't believe we just did that.
Only for me on this show. That's a good friend. So yeah, so by the way, so we're talking about, so we had the highs and lows, and she's been through some personal stuff. I am going to take a break. Are you okay with me to talk about this?
Yes.
Okay. So for those of you that have followed me for a long time, I actually talked about this on social media. I actually opened my life coaching class to the entire public for someone that she was involved with for many, many years, who was an incredible athlete in and of himself. People would see his name on a race and go, never mind, he's going to win. He's going to win all aspects of this. Well, life came crushing down for Sally and anybody that was deeply in love with a man named G.R.I.T. We'll talk about that story when we return.
Warm weather, sand beaches, and boats galore. It's not Florida, it's a Lake of the Ozarks. Florida Direct Palm Trees brings tropical flair to your patios, docks, and yards. From a few feet all the way to 25 feet, there are palm trees for every property. Florida Direct also provides palm tree potting soil, palm fertilizer, large decorative pots, and a wide selection of locally grown tropical flowers and plants to add the perfect accent to your tropical paradise. Florida Direct Palm Trees, bringing paradise to your patio for 14 plus years.
Welcome back. It is the Real Monica Adams Show. We are hydrating on the sets, just like you're supposed to hydrate in races, right, Sally? Sally has some water. Look what I have.
Oh, bubbly.
Yes. Have you been following along? You know what we're trying to do?
You're trying to get Michael Bublé.
Hello, Michael. Where are you?
Show. He needs to be on here.
I do have some kind of connection to Michael. He held my hand at a concert and
Oh.
sang to me.
He'll remember
So we have
you.
had a connection. You remember that, right, Michael? You should remember me. You held my hand after all. Yes. So Michael Bublé, get on this show and we'll drink some bubbly together. That one I believe is blueberry. I don't know. I do love those. But hydration is important. Okay, so we went into the break and I'm talking about this wonderful woman that is sitting here that we've become the best of friends, and I support her. She supports me. I've been wanting her to be on the show so you could feel this incredible energy. Maybe hire her as a coach or a part of the components of racing that you want to do. We've talked about some injuries that she's had, but one of the things that I watched her go through was a very difficult thing that we've actually talked about on this show. Trying to find your way to seeing something that happened to someone that she was involved with for a long time. You and Jay were a couple for how many years?
8 years.
Oh, wow, I didn't even know it was that long. So
Yes.
8 years. And what an athlete he was. I mean, really, whenever his name was on anything, anybody that I know that did any race, they're like, never mind, Jay Orr's is going to win. Jay Orr's going to win. Jay Orr's going to win. He was an incredible athlete. You guys had an incredible relationship. Everybody knew it was Sally and Jay and Sally and Jay. Beautiful couple together. And I didn't know until shortly before this happened that there were some issues and demons in his life. And we've talked recently with Mind Muscle Pro, Nicholas Murray, love him, talking about how depressed he was and things that he had gone through in his life and that he almost took his life on certain occasions. Well, unfortunately, Jay Orr is no longer with us because that's exactly what happened. Jay did take his life, and it brought awareness to mental health, even more so. I talked to you and I was shocked by it when I saw it. And someone said, did you see this? And I said, no, that can't be right. And then you and I talked and I said, I didn't know these things. So you say that he struggled for a long, long time, right?
Yes. He had, he came from a family of addiction, and some of them had drug problems. He had a drinking problem, and it just became worse and worse. And he was in a lot of trouble that I didn't really know about when I first met him.
Yeah.
And that all came out later, unfortunately. And he couldn't change his habit. He fought the addiction, but yeah, it eventually is what led to his suicide, which was horrible.
Was he in denial that any of these things were going on around him? Would he not talk about the mental health problems and the struggles?
Absolutely not. Jay was happy-go-lucky, brush it under the rug. There aren't any problems. Brush it under the rug. So it was really hard for him to deal with the fact that he did have some struggles with it. And no, he wouldn't talk about it. He wouldn't admit that he had the problems.
But would you have seen it escalate to the point that it was? I mean, did it surprise you that it happened?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Because a lot of people who are watching would say, well, what were the warning signs, Sally? What should we look for?
It shocked me. He was always happy and up, and he was the type of person that when you were around him, he would lift you up. He was constantly complimenting people, sincerely complimenting people. It wasn't a put on. It wasn't an act.
No, he wasn't fake at all.
Sincere.
I'll never forget him. I think I'm trying to figure out if I met him before I met you, and maybe that's how we met. Because I went into, what's the running store that's by North and South in U City?
Big River.
He worked there, right?
Yes.
Yes, and I came in and he's like, you're Monica from either WIL or Channel 2 at the time. I don't remember. I probably was Channel 2 at the time. And I was looking for those Vibram 5-finger shoes.
Yeah.
And that's where I bought them. Have you ever seen those, by the way? They look like little monkey feet. Are they around anymore?
I don't think so.
They're the craziest shoes. I still have some.
are.
I never could get my pinky toe in.
Ooh, that's uncomfortable.
So I went there, and yes, I think that might be how it played out. I think I met you through him. So thank you, Jay, by the way.
Yes.
So I got fitted for some shoes there, and then was just talking about how incredible of an athlete he was. And you're right. He was beaming. He had the same glow that you have and that people say that I have, that you would never. That's why it shocked me, because he never showed that to me, obviously. I never thought he was anything but the epitome of happiness.
Yes.
And there are a lot of people who put on masks, aren't there, Sally?
Yes. And he came to a point in his life where he thought it was hopeless and he wouldn't be able to turn these problems around that he had that were related to his drinking. And he didn't see an out. This is what I believe when I try to analyze it, because it is hard to try to understand why he would do that when he had so many friends, so many people who loved him, and he just lit up people's days. Someone like that, it just doesn't seem right. But he had a lot of demons he was fighting inside that I did not know about.
Right, and so it's all of you. We've done shows before about this, and I'm going to say it again. If there's anyone out there right now that is thinking it's over, it's hopeless, my world is over and everybody else's life would be better if I'm not here, because that's how far it goes until something intervenes or someone sees something. There are suicide prevention lines. There are organizations out there that can help. If we can save a life today by saying you do matter, you are loved. I wish we would have been able to intervene with Jay. It really did shock me, and I know it was so hard for you to pick up, move on. You two weren't a couple anymore at that point, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, but
Correct.
you were forever friends.
Oh, we decided we were going to be best friends forever.
Yep.
And we were talking about, we were each dating someone at the time after we broke up, and we were talking about the people that we were dating together. You know, we were talking about those things, and agreed that we'd be best friends forever.
You were so super close. And, again, I hope you all understand that sometimes relationships don't work, but that doesn't mean you wish ill. And sometimes you're better off when you're not together. You do have to for herself, she needed to take care of you. And it wasn't the best. So you had to walk away from that, but say, well, okay, we're not going to do this together, but we're going to be over here as friends. And I want you to be there. That's why it was such a shock to her. And then you try to pick up the pieces. So the other thing I want to talk to you about, which I'm so super proud of you, two things. One, you were just featured by St. Louis Business Journal as one of the most influential businesswomen in St. Louis. How did that come about? By the way, congratulations.
Thank you. Oh, it still feels like a dream. It really does. So it came about, you are nominated for that. So I didn't have someone, I didn't know somebody nominated me for that.
Uh-huh.
And then it was probably a few months later, they let me know, well, he let me know that he nominated me. And then they let me know that I won it. I'll never forget, I was driving and I saw the email. I was at a stop sign, I saw the email and I thought, oh my gosh, I need to get out of my car and jump up and down. I can't believe this, you know? And so it's just been a magical experience. And yeah, I still truly can't believe it, but it makes me very excited. I work hard to provide resources for the community to come out and be active.
Yep.
And that's my goal, is big picture is for the whole community, not just triathletes, but for the whole community.
Do you understand why we're good friends? Because we want to change the world on a massive scale. And she's been doing that. And no matter what knocks you down, she picks back up. And you said in the very beginning that, hey, somebody can say you're not going to do this, but I'm going to find a way. I will find a way to make this happen. And you have been on multiple levels. Did they give you a nice award that you're displaying proudly at your house?
I have a trophy.
Good. I love it.
I
Yes,
have
you
a
do.
trophy.
And again, it just feels good when people recognize your hard work.
Yes.
And believe in you.
Yes. And it through that, and another thing I believe that you're going to talk about, it really made me proud of my story and proud of the fights that I fought.
Yes.
And the struggles, and everyone has struggles. Mm-hmm. So it's amazing to learn from other women in this group. I'm in other women's business owner groups and leadership groups. And everyone has a different story, and everyone has their ways of overcoming major horrible traumatic events, such as Jay in their lives, the neck issue. I was going to be okay with yoga and walking.
Which is such a shift,
right? I was going to be
shift.
okay with it, but I had to.
Yes.
I knew I had to, and I was happy. I was fine with that.
Well, and that's the main thing, Sally, is how do we find our way to any type of happiness? Whatever the shift was going to be, it's the acceptance. I mean, when I had my blood clot, my parents were told, don't even let her walk down the street because a car could go by and a rock could come flying off of the wheel of the car and cut her and she could bleed. I mean, that's how thin my blood was at the time. And I kept going, I have to, or I'm going to go stir crazy, do something. So it was walking. And then it was, I'm going to lightly lift weights. So we did the exact same thing to come back. You've got to, or you're going to go stir crazy. So when you have someone that has that in them, type A personality, wanting to go, but sometimes God takes things away from us till we focus on something else. So during your year of being pulled away from the go of the triathlon, the Ironman, all those, did you work more on your spiritual and mental side?
Yes, 100%. And that's when I started meditating, was with I started it during COVID, but it taught me to be in a routine during COVID.
Yep.
And then when the neck thing happened, I had a lot of time to meditate, right?
Yes,
I had a lot of time to meditate.
Well, and Sally, so I do my life coaching class on Thursday nights. I brought Sally onto that. We connected through Zoom, as so many of us did. Still use it as a big part of business. That's a good thing that came out of COVID, by the way. So we have to look for the positives in life. So it's all those things of tenacity and grit. That's the book, by the way, that she is a part of. So it's a collaboration. And here's the thing I recently found out. Kathy Kilo Peterson, who is a part of our show, she is the newest sponsor, State Farm agent, kkilo.com. Kathy is also a part of this book.
Good.
Do you know her?
I don't know if I've met Kathy yet.
There you go. Kathy Kilo Peterson. She is part of this book, G.R.I.T, G.R.I.T. And by the way, I want to thank Kathy for being a part of the show. You can see how you can scan that QR QR code right there, or call her at 636-561-6460. Make her your State Farm agent because she truly cares, and that's the community that we're building around here. And you'll also find out about her role in this book that I think is it coming out in November, or is it different parts that come out?
Yes, different
Okay.
parts that come out.
Okay.
So the original book we sold, and it's a series of books. So it started with Grit, and then it's Jennifer Bardot who's done this, Jennifer McDonald Bardot. And so it started with Grit, then she had one on resiliency, then Intention, which is the one that I'm
That's
in.
yours, right? Yep.
Yes, and then Tenacity is the next one coming up.
That is hers. Kathy's is
Okay.
Tenacity. But she was looking through it. She's like, wait a minute. I think we have a part of this. She's like, we're connected. Sally and I are connected in some way. So let's talk about yours. And how did this all come about?
Okay, I had a friend, Jennifer, who is a part of this group and was working a little bit with Jennifer Bardot. It's another Jennifer, or Marianne is the gal I'm thinking of. So Marianne, and her last name starts with B, and I'm so sorry, Marianne. It's a doozy to to say. And she said, you should look into writing for Jennifer. I said, I have never written. I can't do that. No. She said, just sign up. You'll see. Sure enough, we had a writing coach, and it really taught me to write. It was such a fun journey and such an amazing experience, because you start, at least I don't know how everybody else did it, but I started by just writing my childhood, about growing up, about college, about all of the things in my life and different aspects that stood out, but I kept the word intention in my mind, and where my intentions were to shift my journey sometimes, or things like that. And it was fascinating to actually just map out your story. So I start with about 5 pages. Well, I had to trim it down to about 1 page. So I send that to my writing coach. She's like, trim.
Yep.
She's like, look at this. Focus on this a little bit. And the end product I'm extremely proud of.
Good.
It ended up being, it's called Iron Intention. That's my chapter.
Ah.
And it's basically about how my journey through Ironman training, I did 13 full Ironman races, and those were pretty much one a year from 2011 on until 2001 on until I opened my shop, and then business owner, no more Ironman. So anyway, I used my Ironman experience to kind of describe my business and entrepreneurial journey, and how the two go so hand in hand.
Sure.
How my experience as an Ironman athlete, you dig deep, you push through. Failure is not an option in my mind. And I never had to stop the race. I finished every single Ironman that I started.
Beautiful.
And that, I believe it's my personality,
Sure.
or it could be luck that I just didn't have any nutritional issues or something like that. But I always.
But you still would have
finished
fought your way back.
Right.
Like you said in the beginning, and that's what you teach as a great coach. Actually, the greatest success sometimes comes from the hardest failures. When you realize your grit, your blood, sweat, tears, your intention, your tenacity, your resilience, all those things. And then it's like, look what I overcame. I mean, that's you sitting in the blue chair right now is, wow, Monica, you're right. Look at all of that I've overcome. And I think no matter what the hard knocks are that come your way, you are obviously, any of you're going to live in the moments of it, but don't stay there too long. There's the past. We've been talking about some horrible things that have happened in your past and my past, but we can't stay there because life is so short.
Yes.
We've experienced loss and love and ups and downs, but ultimately it's to find the happiness that's on your face.
To find it. And what I was just thinking about when I was smiling was after Jay's suicide, which was gut-wrenching.
Yep.
Took me to my knees. My employees at MSE Racing came over, said, I was putting on my biggest triathlon that weekend
I remember.
that I had ever put on.
Yep.
The St. Louis Triathlon was now mine, and we were putting it on with my crew. New to us. And I couldn't function.
Yep.
My crew came over, they said, don't worry, we got this. They basically put on that race. I'm telling you, I don't remember anything from the day of the race. And I was sober. I just don't remember anything. I was so I remember.
Why would you say that?
Jay. I remember thinking about Jay a lot. I
Yes.
remember the expo day, the day before the
Weren't
race.
you all wearing something in his honor?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
So a friend, I think it was Jenny Ahmad, made some of the little ribbons, the Hope ribbons, in green in memory of
Yes.
Jay.
Yes.
So suicide prevention
Yes.
was the charity, and it was in memory of Jay. And that race, and I know Memphis half Ironman I did a month after he passed away. That was difficult. And we all wore the ribbon tattooed on our bodies for that. And and I'll never forget. And during that race, a woman said to me as I'm finishing, just finished the race, so I was completely exhausted. It poured down rain during that whole half Ironman. And she said, what's that green ribbon you all are wearing on your leg? And I said, oh, it's from it's about a friend who committed suicide. It was a month ago, and it just like all the blood just left my body.
Sure. Well, I remember you calling me and saying, Monica, I don't know if I'll ever stop crying. She was saying, I wake up in the morning and go to bed at night, and all day long I just feel like crying, and just how it felt like you were suffocating in that. And then finally you see light somewhere. I think a lot of the light is the people that were around you, right? And Brian McKenna was on the show, and he always talks about your vibe attracts your tribe. And it's so very true. It's what you surround yourself with. And that's the message that Sally and I were trying to get across in this hour, was that there are going to be hard times. It's not going to be all puppies and rainbows and happy days, but they're going to come. There's always light at the end of these at the end of the dark tunnel. My friend and I do like a good glass of red wine. That's why I brought the corks out.
We do.
But in moderation, right? Just and you know what? Just being in the moment and enjoying the time together, and that's what it's about. More happy times. You've been real. I mean, I don't even know. I didn't know anything about the book, by the way, so I don't know how you kept that one from me. I was like, where did all this come from? But I'm so super proud of you. I love you dearly, and I'm so proud of you, of where you are and where you're going. And I mean, where else but the world? She's going to take over. Maybe this is the future president of the United States.
Look
right
at
here.
you.
Thank you. Don't you love the palm trees? Yes.
I'm so happy
The palm
for you.
trees. She couldn't wait to get in here and see the palm trees and smell the candle. It smells good in here.
It's Monica's heaven.
It's our heaven together. It's a team.
Yes,
Okay,
I love
so
it.
we're going to wrap up. And so I always wrap up with a devotional, Sally.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you to pick what resonates with you and everything we've talked about. 100 Days of Freedom from overeating, anger, shame, depression, fear, and anxiety.
Fear and anxiety.
Fear and anxiety it is. We'll wrap up right after the break. Envita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Envita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Envita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Envita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment or online envitahealthandwellness.com. Welcome back. What an incredible hour it has been. And we have just a few more things to tell you about a retreat that's coming up in October. I hate that I am going to miss this one. Sally, you've got one coming up in the fall, right?
Yes, it's October 20th through the 22nd. I am just thrilled and cannot wait for this. It's at Camp Manitowoc, which is in Benton, Illinois by Wren Lake.
Okay.
It's called the Women's Adventure Retreat. It's for women of any activity level or fitness level. You don't have to be an adventurer, but you might want to extend yourself a little bit and have fun at this retreat. We have some great facilitators. I just can't wait. And then I'm also planning one in the spring.
Oh, another one.
This one will be in March, the first weekend in March. And I'm hoping that you, Monica, will be a part of that one.
Oh, seriously? Well, okay, wait a minute. She's putting me on the spot here. Where is this one going to be held?
This one will be at Innsbruck Resort.
Absolutely. So you want me to do what?
Whatever. Be a facilitator. Help me put it on.
You got it.
Yes.
I do not think there's
women.
anything on my calendar at this point. First week
Yes, first week in March.
First week in March. It's right before my birthday. So let's have some fun
yes.
together. Let's be active. That's the way I like to celebrate a birthday.
There might be wine there too.
Okay, I'm there. Done. Okay, so if somebody wants to find out about these retreats, how would they find them out?
Those are on the MSE website. It's mseracing.com, and the women's retreats are under the More tab.
Okay.
You'll see races, you'll see events and other tabs, but it's under More. You'll see women's retreats under there.
And there's still room for the October one?
Yes, there is.
And then you're still putting the March one together?
Yes.
Okay, so mseracing.com is one way, by the way, that you can find out more about all the great things that she's doing. Also, you're a great endurance coach, and maybe somebody would want you to be their coach. Where would we find out about that?
That one is msecoaching.com.
Okay, msecoaching.com, mseracing.com. Incredible retreats coming up in October and March. And I do want to congratulate you because we talked about the book, and it's not just a book that's out there just for the heck of it. It's an international bestseller. Congratulations on that.
It's like another dream come true. They just keep coming.
I'm telling you, surround yourself with positivity and you will go places. That book is available where?
It's on Amazon.
Okay.
Yes, it's
And
on Amazon.
can you sign a copy for me?
Yeah, I would love to.
Good. I love it. I love you so much, my friend. Again, congratulations on everything. So now you have all the information to maybe have her as your coach. And hey, just see opportunities and possibilities in yourself. You never know what you can achieve in life. You just have to believe first. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Monica.
As we always do, we're wrapping up for you with 100 Days to Freedom. And the one that Sally chose is fear and anxiety, which so many of you are stunted in your growth in life because you let fear and anxiety hold you back. Well, this one's called Lift It Up. In his kindness, God called you to share in his eternal glory by means of Christ Jesus. So after you have suffered a little while, he will restore, support, and strengthen you, and he will place you on a firm foundation. That's from 1 Peter 5, verse 10. Anxiety and fear, very powerful emotions, by the way, that can totally rule and potentially ruin your life. You may have tried to rid yourself of these feelings, but nothing seems to help. What would you say to letting go of those feelings? Maybe that seems impossible to you. Often it is difficult to let go of things because we aren't fully convinced that God is able to deal with the strong feelings that control our lives. The creator of heaven and earth has the power to do anything, yet we doubt. God's ability to take on your troubles is greater than you will ever know. Because if you did know, you would have given God all your worries and all of your fears a heck of a long time ago. Realizing that God has more power than you do will allow you to begin to surrender your cares to him. Today, begin to release your worries to God, who cares for you and who will ease the weight of your worry. Billy Graham said, God doesn't want us to be consumed with worry and anxiety. He wants us to turn our worries over to him and to trust him for the future. Lee Robertson said, worry is nothing but practical infidelity. The person who worries reveals his lack of trust in God and that he is trusting too much in self. And Corrie ten Boom, worry is like racing the engine of an automobile without letting in the clutch. The prayer for today, dear God, creator of heaven and earth, I ask humbly for you to take the worries and fears of my heart. Help me to trust you, knowing that you care for me and you will handle anything in my life. Thank you for loving me. Amen. Amen to that. And thank you, dear friend, for coming on the show today. I love you so much and all you have provided to this world. And I know when we talk about friendships, without a shadow of a doubt, this woman will forever be in my life, and I yours. To all of you, I hope you find this kind of connection. I hope that you find the tribe that will forever lift you up. That type of communication, that type of belief and trust in the world is what each and every one of you need. Trust that it's there for you, but sometimes you just have to walk away from that quicksand that's got you stuck to move on over where you're going to start moving again. You'll walk, you'll run, you have no idea where you're going to go. I believe in you. I need you to believe in yourself. Remember, it's another new day. Go out, be anything you want to be. Don't you dare forget, first, be kind. Love you all. God bless.